Welcome back to the Skunkworks. This is Space Engineers Building a Fleet.
You can't take it back, no. I've got so much left to say, but I'll take the words and walk away.
Hello YouTubers and welcome back. I'm Skyker from Bright Games, and yes, we are back in another exciting Space Engineers Building a Fleet. Today we're going to be looking at one of my newer designs, fresh off the assembly block, the Damocles class heavy destroyer. And let's take a quick look at her from the outside. As you can see, this is a little bit different of a ship than I usually build. It is a bit more modular in design, but the differences from my normal building styles will be seen in on the inside of the ship especially. But if we quickly look on the outside, we're a bit in the dark here for a moment, but let's quickly roll her up. As you can see, she is quite maneuverable even for a destroyer of this size. She has plenty of weaponry that is for point defense, mostly on the bottom side and on the top side and on the sides and on the top of the ship. She has the big cannons, the one turret of 300mm guns and one single one further to the front and two to the sides, also one barreled 300mm. These are for the ship-to-ship combat types, whilst the rest are mostly for point defense and taking out smaller aircraft. So before we get to the rest of what the ship has, let's quickly take a look at her from the inside. So let us quickly, let us just break her down so we don't crash into anything. As you can see, let's quickly look at the CIC first. As you can see, is normal layout for my ships. It has 6 on each side for your weapons officers and the like, your pilot in the middle of course, and your captain's control chair, ready to shout orders to your crew whenever you need to. So we are currently on the top of the ship. Let us quickly just hop in and show you. We are currently in this section of the ship, which is the most heavily armored part of the ship, I would say. It has heavy armor protecting it. It has a layer of heavy armor encasing the entire CIC capsule, and then light armor on the outside. There are several areas where there's heavy armor incorporated into this design to protect vital areas. I will show later on. So the first 2 rooms we have on the ship on the top is basically your main crew's sleeping quarters. You have 6 on each side, 3 bunk beds. So that is a space for 12 crew members in total. Wait. It seems that this side was not finished yet, so let us ignore that for a moment. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but these stupid construction workers are still maybe hammering out the last things, so we will fire them immediately and hire new ones. Recommend me some better constructors and engineers in the links down below if you would, ones who actually do all of the jobs. So next up is 2 large cargo containers. These are mostly for armament for the main guns, to ensure that this ship doesn't run out of ammo quickly in a firefight. So that is the top deck is mostly just hallway. However, there is a small secondary auxiliary power room, battery power room, as well as more conduits and conveyors carrying the armament from the cargo containers to her weapons. And next up, we shall go down to the mid deck, or the first level, or actually the ground floor. I would say it's first deck. Yeah, let's keep with first deck. And I think I overshot it. Have I? No, I have not. I do get turned around a little bit, so apologies if I do not know exactly where I am. And here we are at the first level. Now here is basically the core of the ship of all of her systems. So let's start at the front of the ship and work our way backwards. In here we have a very dark room, but this room does actually serve a quite important purpose. This is a what we like to call in the industry a modular room. So this is a heavy, as you can see from the armor here, that looks different, is heavy armor, and this is another piece where I said there is heavy armor incorporated to make the ship last a little bit longer in a firefight, and it also has many different modular capabilities that any fleet can use it for their own designs. It is already incorporated so that you can fix four fixed weaponries in the front position, front hull, to add it that extra firepower. But of course, this is to the fleet's own liking. For now, it just serves as a modular room for whatever a fleet would like you to use it for, and it will be incorporated. And onwards, we go quickly here to show off the two airlocks on each side, one on each side. Two doors before you can exit the ship. This is to provide extra protection for your crew so you don't accidentally vent all of the atmosphere of your ship while just trying to exit your vessel. Moving onwards, we have on these two sides, obviously, these stairs going from the lower decks to the upper decks. And in these two rooms, we have more sleeping arrangements, 8 bunk beds in total, 4 in each room, which provides another 16 sleeping quarters for occupants. Now, this can be used for, say, for example, more for a strike force, or for if you have more engineers that need to fix your ship if there's maybe damage, or you're just having a more of a engineer complement than a bridge complement, and this is where they will normally live. In here we have the medbay room, 2 medbays in each room with 4 stasis pods to provide help. If, say, a patient is severely wounded and cannot be treated on the ship, they can be put in stasis so that they can be kept alive until they can be treated at a better facility. So there's a lot of medical rooms available on this ship, mainly because of its war-like nature. And over here we have 2 more cargo containers, large cargo containers for more ammunition and for other supplies, for example, uranium or whatever, to power the reactors of the vessel. And in here we have the gyroscopic room. This is basically just where most of your gyroscopes are to provide your ship with the maneuverability it needs in combat. As you can see, it's quite large, but it serves the purpose well, and because of it's at the back of the ship and quite well protected from the armor from below and above it, it is quite safe, and that is why this is where most of the gyroscopes are stationed. That concludes the center deck, or the first deck of the ship. So now we will be moving onwards to the lower deck, the engineering deck. And as we move downwards, where the mainstay of the ship's power comes from. And here we are. It is the engineering deck and also the power room. It has 7 large reactors, which gives this ship the main power that it needs to go into combat or provide fire support where needed. There are, of course, auxiliary power rooms such as the battery rooms, and in the superstructure of the ship there are small reactors also connected by the conveyor system, which provided with extra power if one of these reactors were to go offline or were to be damaged. But this is where the main power comes from, and this is the bulk of where the ship gets its fighting strength from. And over here we have 7, I believe, as well, shield generators, which provide extra protection to the ship. So not only is it protected by heavy armor, but also by these shield generators, which gives it a pretty decent protection against all types of weaponry, and can make the ship last much longer in a fight. And of course, to the side, more cargo containers linked into the conveyor system. So this ship has more than enough space to accommodate any and all of your needs, whether it be ammunition or fuel or other requirements. It can hold it with no problems whatsoever. So that is the engineering deck. So we will quickly go outside and see the outside of the ship and what the ship has to offer. There we go. Alright, so as you can see from the outside, it's very angular, and because of its interesting front side, it is a very difficult target to hit from front. Because of its sleek design and of its angular armor, it makes it a little bit more difficult of a target to hit, and if it does provide a little bit more protection as well. So, as we can see, it is very modular. Two reverse thrusters on each side from the Industrial Sage mods. Very excellent thrusters. And we have a multitude of side thrusters as well in the various parts of the ship to provide it a little bit more versatility if some of these engines were to be knocked out. And over here we have the main forward thrust, two on each side as well, so it has the same amount of forward and reverse thrust, which makes it decent ship to accelerate and decelerate as well. Now, of course, it has a lot of up and down thrusters because of the weight of the ship, more up than down, but the down thrust is more than capable of moving the ship effectively. Now, over here, let's quickly look at the armament of the vessel. She has a ton of point defenses, missile and normal Gatling gun point defenses. These are actually, if I can remember correctly, concussion missile launchers, so these actually do a bit more damage than your regular missile launchers that you will find out there. And over here we have the main battery of weapons, the single turreted, 3-barreled 300mm guns, I should say. This can punch holes right through unshielded or lightly armored targets, and generally it doesn't take too long for the ship to take down more heavily armored targets as well. Supplementing this are the 3 single-barreled 300mm cannons, one on each side and one in the front here, also accompanied with more point defense systems. It's the same on the side here, 2 point defenses on each side to take down incoming missiles or small fighters or so, to provide it more of a 360-degree arc than just a normal 180 or so degrees, which helps a lot in a firefight, especially if you are fighting an aircraft carrier or a small carrier that has fighter complement in it. So if we go downwards, as we have seen earlier, it has a bunch of small point defense turrets as well on the bottom, giving it even more protection. And over here we have its landing gears. They are currently retracted at the moment, but I will show you in a moment that they can deploy, and this makes the ship also a little bit less, it gives it more of a slick design, and everything has a purpose, which helps greatly with just the overall maintenance of the ship and making it look cooler as well. And because of less dragage, it does help with the energy signature of this vessel to remain a little bit more stealthy, I should say, or undetectable, especially if you apply it with a very dark or gray paint job, as this one is. This is a light gray, but of course the shipyard is more than happy and capable of providing any type of color scheme that any fleet were to have for it. So as I said, we will quickly go up and provide some demonstrations to the capabilities of this vessel. And heading to the bridge. Give it a good sprint. One nice thing is because it's a nice long corridor, it makes it easier to get from point A to point B. So let's hop into the chair. And also it has a jump drive as well, which does mean the ship can provide long distance attacks and serve in any corner of the galaxy that it so wishes to. So let's quickly test the acceleration of this vessel. As you can hear, the new overhaul for the physics and the sound is just beautiful in this latest update of Space Engineers, which makes everything look and sound awesome. As you can see, even for the size of this vessel, it can accelerate quite quickly to its max speed of 100 meters a second. And you can hear the engines pushing out, and voila, we are at 100 meters a second. Let's quickly show the deceleration speed. The deceleration actually feels faster than the actual acceleration of the ship, but of course this is not the case. It just feels this way. So whilst we're decelerating, I will quickly show off the deployment of the landing gear. And there we go. So as you can see, two landing gear legs, and this provides more than enough strength to park the ship on a space station or whatsoever that you wish to park it on. So let's retract those again. And that is mainly the Damocles class heavy destroyer. Now this ship will be posted on the Steam Workshop for those of you who wish to try it out, and if you guys would indeed like to improve on it, please let me know in the comments below, or give me a link if you have maybe taken the ship under your wing and incorporated it into your fleet and improved upon it. Please let me know in the comments below. I would love to see it and maybe do a spotlight on it. But that is all for this ship this time. Now, oh wait, one quick thing I would like to also show is the shield's strength of the vessel, if I can find it. There we go. Right, so it has 340,000 shield points, which is small, less than my usual size ships of this class, but because it has the heavy armor, it can do with a little bit less shields and provide more hard armor protection against enemy targets. But it's more than enough to be able to handle off or fend off multiple fighters and missile strikes from large or small vessels. So it is more than capable of handling its own in a fight. But yes, that is unfortunately all for this episode of Building a Fleet. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you like the ship, please let me know in the comments below. And also, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe down below. It really helps out a lot, guys. And one last thing as well, I will post the mod list for what I've used on the ship, so definitely go and check it out. It's really a fun ship. Hope to see you guys next time for Building a Fleet, but for this episode that is all. Thank you, take care, and goodbye.